Good morning, students. Good morning. Good morning, Meshak. Good morning, Kiveu, Mevin, Nakuona. Good morning, Wangari Kuria. Thank you for logging in early. Naona Nziza Muya is also here. Make sure you mute your mics, please. Felix, mute your mics. Ravins, Mandere, make sure you mute your mics. Will not want to have interferences in the class. There is Emmanuel Mutai. Mute. Fanny Satieno, kindly mute your mic. Esther Okesa, mute your mic.
Dr. Nabure Christy.
Oh, Christy ni nzuri. Kindly start sharing the screen. The host, please share the screen. I'll request the members, the students to register their admission numbers on the chat box kindly. We are already 5 minutes into the lesson. The host kindly increase the font. We give 3 minutes for the other members to join. Right now, we only have how many participants? 38. That is a very small number. We're supposed to be 600 students. So inform your friends that the class is starting to log in. Thank you so much for sharing. Increase the font for those who may have problems with the site. Put it at least at font 14. That is better. That is okay. That's okay. Thank you. So members, we are allowing at least, thank you. I can see people are logging in. I'm waiting at least to fike 300. We are supposed to be 600. Now, we'll not wait for the others. I just give you precisely 3 minutes. After that, I'll start the class. We cannot wait for the others. Class rep, Anthony, inform the others, the members that the class has started. And then inform everybody to mute their mics and their videos. We don't want interferences in class. And those who will not adhere to the rules will remove them from the class. So two more minutes, then the class starts. This is a very small number. We are only 51 against 600. That is a micro. I'll not expect anybody to complain later that we could not get in class. I think we can start our class because time is not on our side. And just as a reminder, this class is being recorded. And that's why we are insisting that the class members will be in your best behavior. It's being recorded and it will be viewed on it will also be highlighted on YouTube. I'm very keen about class attendance, as I told you. So let nobody miss class in the name of they'll be able to revisit it on YouTube. Everybody is encouraged to attend. Thank you so much for those who are registering. Now we can start the class. Good morning, students. Good morning. Good morning. Am I having people in class? Unmute and respond. Good morning. Good morning, class. Good morning, Robert Ojambo. Morning, Doc. I'm seeing that to everyone, but I also want to hear your voices. You can unmute. It's not like you are going to just, yes, I can see you, Gero Peter, but I'd like also to hear your voices, unmute and so that it's interactive. Good morning, class. Hey, muko wangapi hapa louders, muko wangapi kwa mic moja? Okay, thank you. We are going to start, and as I told you, our class is professional ethics. The unit today is professional ethics and public law in counseling. So the host kindly starts sharing.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Sorry.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, Daktari.
Good morning, madam.
Morning, madam.
Morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Enough.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Madam is not talking.
Enough.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I had muted. I had muted. Sorry. Are you hearing me now?
Yes,
Yes.
madam.
Okay, good.
We are
Request the
hearing,
host
madam.
to mute others except me so that we can have a class. And then the host can also share. Yongwai Nyabuto, I can see you. I can see you on the screen. Alphonse Rachami, I can see you. Have you me? Thank you. Now, as we had said, our course unit is professional ethics and public law in counseling. And I had already given you the background. The host sharing, please. Try to see that it's not being interfered, because now I'm seeing the screen for the participants. Regulate from your end. Now try to, in fact, just to minimize any interferences, because we are now logging into the class. I'm reading Wanjiku. I don't know what we can do. It's like the captions are being shown on the screen and they are interfering with the class. I don't know. Host, can you assist me at the other end so that the captions are not being shown and interfering with the sharing? That the captions are not being shown and interfering with the host. I'm hanging. I can't see on the screen. The screen is blank, host. Or can you allow me to share, host? If sharing is becoming a problem, host, can you allow me to share?
Yes, Doc, please share from your end.
Yeah, let me see. I had not opened the document.
Okay, just open, then you will share from the side.
Let me see.
Hello, Doc. We can now see your screen.
Can you see?
Hello, Doc. Can you?
Yeah. I think you had muted me.
Not yet.
Now you can
Just
see.
unmute,
You can.
please.
You can. Hello.
We cannot see your screen yet.
You cannot see. Then I think the host can just share.
Okay, let me try it share.
Just share the host.
Okay, I'm doing just a minute.
Yes, we can now see the screen. Yes, we can now see the screen.
Now you can continue, Doc.
Okay, you can enlarge the font, eh? Now, okay. Yeah, that is better. So at least just move so that we can see the entire course outline. Yeah, the font is okay. The font is okay. And maybe I don't know what you're going to do to minimize the echo. Okay, as I had told you, our course unit is professional ethics and public law in counseling, as you can see. My name is Reverend Dr. Christine Wanyama. The students were asking for my number. Apparently, it's not captured on the screen, but you can check on the chat box. I'm sending my number there. It's 072424 7831. And if you go to the psychology department, you'll find my underneath there. It's on the door, so you can check that. Now, the purpose of this course is to prepare you counseling professionals to think in an ethical and moral manner, as I told you during our induction class, in all of your professional activities. So they talking about thinking in an ethical manner is not only restricted to counseling. It applies all the other fields that you're practicing. This course will be dealing with ethical issues within mental health and psychology, and it is meant to prepare you as professionals to be able to go into the field and operate in a professional manner. For those of you who read the news, you realize most universities are now putting restrictions on dressing code because we are preparing professionals. We are not preparing, what do you call them, models or whatever. So what we do is, as per profession, you are required to dress and act in a certain manner. Just go down, let me read the course outline, the topics first of all. Just come down kidogo, up, rudi nyuma kidogo, rudi nyuma. There was the course content. Let's go to the course content. You are highlighting the references. Now you've thrown me off guard. You are showing the references only. Can you scroll? I wanted to look at the course content. Okay, there you are. So the course content includes introduction to ethical and legal issues in counseling. We'll also be looking at professional issues. Kindly just be steady so that I can teach. Now, you are disorienting me. You had started on the course, we were looking at the course content. I don't know what is happening with the host. Highlight one page at a time and stay there until I tell you to move. Because right now it's like you need. Okay. The course is designed to prepare professional counseling professionals to think in an ethical and moral manner in all of their professional activities. This course also will examine the interplay between legal and ethical issues within mental health and counseling, and also counseling psychology. The course will rely primarily on lectures and in class discussions. And that's why I'm saying we are going to have an interactive session. When you look at the course objectives, first of all, by the end of this course, you students should be equipped with the following skills and knowledge. One, an internalized ethical decision-making system. You need to take at times serious decisions in counseling. You will also you'll have understood the principles of ethics. You'll know the idea of confidentiality, boundaries, in violations, and your duty as a counselor to warn. When you talk about the duty to warn of a professional, you have a duty to warn the client of any impending danger. And as a counselor, you also have a duty to protect the society against a dangerous client. And those are things we are going to look at. Professional practice will also be looked at. counseling competences and ethical issues that are related to it. And then we'll be also looking at the ethical and legal issues in counseling. We'll also be looking at, now I'm reading from my own notes. We'll also be required to look at the rights and the needs of a client. At times that clients do not have the rights they have. Now, the course content is very simple. We'll look at introduction to ethical and legal issues. We'll also look at professional issues in professional ethics in counseling. We'll look at legal issues in psychological research and legal concerns for counselors, legal dilemmas versus emerging issues in counseling. Then we'll also be looking at ethical decision making. We'll be looking at professional practice. We'll be looking at the ethical and legal issues in school counseling. We'll be looking at ethical and legal issues in HIV/AIDS counseling and testing. How do you counsel persons living with this disability? We'll be looking at the sexual orientation and multicultural clients. We'll also be looking at what we call the TADC, that is technologically assisted distant counseling. And finally, we'll be looking at ethical issues in supervision and consultation. As a practitioner, it's expected that with the time you will go into counseling. Now, this course will be given in, we'll have 2 unit exams, the CAT, and we'll also have what we call the main exam. And you remember when we were setting the ground, I was very particular about your conduct as a student, especially in and out of class, because now we are preparing professionals and you have to behave in a manner that depicts you as a counseling professional. And this course is normally the deciding factor. If you end up behaving in a manner that does not portray you as a counseling professional, we reserve the right to ask you to leave the class, to go and deregister, so that we have those ones that can be able to sell the counseling discipline in a more mature and professional manner. Now today, I want to look at what we call definition of the keywords that we're going to be using. One of the keywords is a school counselor. A school counselor, or also called an educator, is a person who works in schools and have historically been referred to as a guidance counselor or educational counselor, although professional school counselors is normally referred to. And going back to the students, when I just go back to the students, I want to ask a simple question. What is your image of the school counselor? When we were in high school, we had school counselors. Can somebody just type for me? Now do not unmute them. Just type. Just describe for me how the school counselor, in your mind, your image of a school counselor. Rosa Winja, Lutatua, Kevin. I'm waiting to hear responses. What is your image of a school counselor? I'm waiting. We just came from high school recently and there was the guidance and counseling teacher. Did you like the person? Why? Did you take them seriously? Those are questions I want to see on the chat box. I'm waiting. I'll not move to the next until I see your reactions. I am not seeing the messages. Zimejificha mahali. Okay, let me scroll downwards and see. Okay, there's somebody. Okay, I'm seeing is a person who gives simple direction, can be followed in school rules and regulation. Say he or she is respectful, should be open, faithful, transparent, should be loving, should be honest. Amunga says God-fearing and decently dressed, good. Okay, Wamalo says they were emphatic, loving. And then Joy Wanyonyi says a well-organized person, always keen, ready to listen and well-groomed, that is good, and smells also nice. I think somebody should add there, was kind, always friendly, very polite. Those are good words. Those are good words. Okay. Is there anything else, anything you saw that was on the negative on the school counselor? Any person who saw something negative on the school counselor, apart from being respectful and what, anything negative? Negative also now come out. Some were biased. The school counselor, we are told, some were boastful, others were harsh. Okay, continue. Too strict and harsh. Instead of counseling, some were money-oriented. Some ignores you. Yes, ours was short-tempered. Some were emphatic, a school counselor. Some were judgmental. Those are the words I'm waiting. They were very hurtful, to tell you the truth. They were not confidential, good. Others were beginning to curse you, despise you. Okay, some were very harsh, little not easy to approach. Others began to curse you according to Vincent. They were not competent. Another, I'm waiting, definition. You know, we just came from school and we've had encounters. Some disclosed our problems in public. Some could expose us, our secrets. The school counselor was harsh, judgmental, and not confidential. And the list can go on and go on. And you know, the good thing, as you are writing all those things, my children, what you're doing is you are actually basically just bringing out what is expected and not expected of the school counselor. You're bringing out the negative traits and the positive traits. Now, a school counselor must have all those qualities. They must be confidential, they have to be good groomed, they must smell nice, they should be friendly, they should be open. But there's somebody who mentioned something that they are hurtful. To tell you the truth, well, I'm handling that. You know, some of us do not like being told the truth. And I'll tell you, my children, truth hurts at times. Truth is very painful, and you need somebody who has the guts to tell you the truth. Okay, another term that you are going to handle is malpractice. Malpractice simply refers to failure to provide professional services with the skill usually exhibited by responsible and careful members of the profession, resulting in injury, loss, or damage to the party contracting those services. You know, as a professional counselor, there is a way you can conduct yourself that can cause damage to the client. For instance, you find a professional, instead, as you are saying, they are harsh, they are judgmental, they start cursing you. You have found yourself in a problem and now they are cursing you. And others were biased, maybe because you have issues at home. And that constitutes what we call professional malpractice. And we are going to talk about malpractice. When can we talk about malpractice? Now, there is another terminology we are going to be using, licensure. These are boards that have been reviewed, that review complaints against school counselors, and they talk with individual school counselors as they struggle with legal and ethical issues. You know, at times we have cases where counselors are sued because of malpractice or assumed malpractice. Now, in this case, the licensure boards are the ones that come in to protect the counselor. But if the counselor is found guilty, then they can be sentenced to jail or fined. And of course, your counseling certificate will be withdrawn. Now, there are cases when the counseling certificate can be withdrawn by the licensure board. One, if the counselor is not confidential. Two, if they are not professional. Three, if they are not conducting themselves in a professional manner. And four, if they act in a way that causes harm to the client. So you see, you remember when I was talking and the students were like, Madam is calling the Riot Act. Counseling is not for jokers. Counselors, counseling, the difference between counseling and any other disciplines, my children, is because while you can see the outside nakedness of a person, it doesn't matter. But for a client to come to you, this person, you open up your inward nakedness. The person is privileged to see inside of you. And as a counselor, to me, I look at it as a very humbling experience because, if you get somebody who can be able to open up and assure themselves to you is very vulnerable. Now, the best you can do is to be confidential and keep that information. If you expose it, you run the risk of injuring the person. Okay, we can continue with our class. There is a guidelines. Another definition is a set of standards, criteria, or specifications to be used or followed in the performance of certain tasks. We also have the counseling guidelines. We'll teach you how to contract with the client. We'll also teach you on how to set boundaries and limits. There is what is not expected and not expected of you. Then we are also be talking about the American Counseling Association, ACA. This one is a non-profit professional organization that is dedicated to the counseling profession. ACA is the world's second largest association, exclusively representing professional counselors. Ethics, the study and evaluation of human conduct in the light of moral principles. Moral principles may be viewed either as the standard of conduct that individuals have constructed for themselves or as the body of obligations. Now, when we talk about ethics, is the set rules. And when you are told you are behaving in an ethical manner, you have gone outside the ethical boundaries. As a teacher, there is a way you are supposed to conduct yourself in an ethical manner. You are not expected to be drunk and disorderly and you're walking around and you're staggering and vomiting all over. That is an unprofessional and it's unethical. You're not supposed to engage yourself in relationships with your students. It's unethical. You're not supposed to, there are guidelines and including even the dress code. The same applies with counseling. Now, we also have ethical dilemma. When you're talking about the ethical dilemma, is a situation that will often involve an apparent conflict between moral imperatives in which to obey one would result in transgressing another. This one is also called an ethical paradox. Now, when you're talking about ethical dilemma, I'm just wondering, you are an only son of your mother or of your. We have tried to share the screen and it's not. Let me try to share again and see if it can be shared. Let me try. Somebody is requesting I share the screen. Then allow me to share. Host, allow me to share. Let me see if it can be shared. Now the problem is when I start sharing, my microphone gets disabled. So students, let's do with what we have. Now, can you hear me? The problem is when I start sharing, my microphone gets disabled. At the other end, I cannot talk. So let's do with what we have. I'm going to share the notes on mail so that you can be able. The host, the problem was on my side. Eh? Okay. I think we'll just make do with what we have so that we save on time, and kindly bear with us. Now, I was talking about supposing you are an only child of your parents, the lineage of your family is depending on you, and then you have a call to become a Catholic priest or a nun. Now, you have a duty, you have the calling. Can you hear me now, students? Can you get me? Host, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So now I asked a question. Now I asked a question. You are an only child, and you have a calling to become a Catholic nun. The continuity of your family depends on you. That is what we call a moral dilemma or an ethical dilemma. How will you go about it? I want answers. On the screen, let's chat. The society is expecting you to produce children for your family. I said you are an only child of your parents, and you have a call to become a Catholic priest. You have a desire to become a Catholic priest. What will you do? That is a dilemma. Okay, Wanjiru says she would adopt children. The parents want their genes to continue. They are not interested in adoption, accept the call of God. Then what happens to the son? We are discussing in English, my dear. The class is not in Kiswahili, Joe Buamalwa. English and maintain the professional and respectful boundaries. Chiruto says, I'll follow my heart. I'll just focus on my major goal by asking God to intervene. Petronila says, I just have to accept the call. Okay, and what about the parents? How will you handle your parents? I will get married, then maybe one of my kids might have the call. I'll explain to them according to my calling. I'll invite the priest to talk to the parents. I'll seek guidance. You know, now this is a really dilemma. Someone says, I'll leave the padreship and go and bear children. Okay, another one says, I'll bear children and repent to God. Another, Kitui says, no, I'll just have to give them grandchildren. No, otherwise, I'll respect mom and dad. And even the Bible says. So, you know, there are those of us who are saying, I'll follow my heart, go to the priesthood. There are those of us who are feeling the parents. And that is what we call a dilemma. You are finding between respecting God's call and respecting your parents. And at times, my children, it can become very messy. So, you know that discussion can go on and go on. So that is just an example of a dilemma. That is just an example of a dilemma. And another one, what we call code of ethics. It's a set of standards about appropriate and expected behavior by members of a professional group. That one, we are going to deal with it very seriously here. Then another top, what we are going to talk about also is labeling. Consistently using a particular name or phrase to describe a person. I want to know the names we use to describe when we talk about labeling. In Kenya, we have 42, or are they now 44 tribes? Each tribe has been labeled according to their behavior. Can you write some of the labels that we have, class? Wanasema Waluya ni hii, Wajaluo hii, Wakikuyu hii, Wataita hivi. I want to see on the wall, what are some of the labels? If your brother came and told you I'm marrying a Kikuyu lady, what will you say? Okay, Kisii are criminals, Luyas are Rugal people. Aya. Another one says Luyas are Wakikuyu pesa, Luyas eat a lot, Pokot people are tall, Wakapa, Wachawi, Wajaluo, Wasamaki. Another one. Those are the labels we talk. Meru Mira, Luo pride, Nandi, they are black, Wakisini, Ndizi, Luyas are energetic. At Kisini wachoyo sana. Teso are peaceful people. I don't know about that. Kalenjins, Mulsik and milk. Those are the labels that we talk about. Luyas, Nuarembo, I don't know about that. That one is for Luya, Ziguembe. I don't know what Ziguembe are. Let's use language that is understandable. Wakisi hutoa watu macho. Masai, they are tall, and all that Griama kind, and all that. Those are the labels that we have, and that is what we call about. We talk about when we talking about labeling. But you see now, as a professional counselor, you are not allowed to label people, because if somebody comes and tells you my name is Wanjiru, and as a counselor you are already removing your past from the Kibeti, would I wake a candle, then that becomes very uncomfortable for the person, because they feel you have already labeled them. Now we have what we call professional values, the beliefs a profession holds about people, how the work of the profession ought to be conducted. And then another one is stereotyping, seeing some people in a perceived oversimplified way. For example, believing that those belonging to a certain group have a particular characteristic. So stereotyping and labeling are the same, but the difference between labeling and stereotyping, labeling is your own perspective. You can say, Christine is this lecturer is this, you know that you have already labeled that, Dini. But when we talk about stereotyping, now that one now covers Kenyans, Ugandans, Tanzanians. Now, can somebody help me understand when you talk about when you talk about Kenyans? What do people say about Kenyans? What is the stereotype of Kenyans, Tanzanians, Ugandans, Wazungu? I want to see reactions on the wall. Kenyans are conmen. According to Vincent Otala, Kenyans are corrupt. Kenyans, most of them are saying, okay, Kenyans are corrupt, even Gideon, even Michelle. Ugandans are very primitive, really? Okay. Kenya, Sehami, that is not a stereotype. Kenyans are thieves. Okay, what about Tanzanians? Tanzanians, Kenyans, Wazungu, they are romantic. I don't know about that. Rwandans are very clean. Tanzanians are humble. Kenyans are outgoing. Tanzanians are talented. Others are saying Tanzanians are boastful. Continue. Ugandans, what about Tanzanians are witches, and they are united. Tanzanians are kind-hearted. I'm just getting those labelings and those stereotypes that Tanzanians are, Kenyans are beautiful. Okay, Ugandans are educated. You know, Kenyans are corrupt. You can see Ugandans are humble. Hey, you people. So you see now, that is what we call labeling. Now, supposing a client comes to you and they say they are Tanzanians, or they're, you know, you can go and imagine that Tanzanians are humble, and you will meet a very arrogant Tanzania, and you say, huyu hata si Mtanzania mwenye najua. So when it comes to stereotyping, at times it's misleading. Okay, we also have what we call values. Values are principles or qualities that are considered to be worthwhile and important. What are the good? Now let's go back. Let's just go back. Let's talk about values. What are values? Those which are considered to be good. Stephen Charlo, I can see you there. Write for me one value that as a teacher you're supposed to have. Somebody else can help Steve as he's thinking. Cornelius Juma, be just, be honest, and be good looking. Solomon is okay, it's a value. Integrity, humility, love. Teachers should be kind, respectful, hardworking, honest. I'm seeing all those, caring, firm and fair. Okay, I'm seeing the qualities of a teacher, the values that are supposed to be to define a teacher. I'm seeing all of them. That is good, understanding, decently dressed. It's you who is saying. So when we will be meeting, I'll be looking at that distance. I'm not expected to see any tumbo cut. Humble and presentable, warm-hearted. Yes, a teacher should be well-mannered, honest and disciplined. And you can see you have all the values. Should be prayerful. Okay, which ones are vices? There is value and vices. Vices are the wrong attitudes. Now let's talk about the vices that can make you not be a good teacher. Biased, judgmental, rude, corrupt, arrogant, bad grooming, poor grooming. We don't say about, it's not bad grooming, poor grooming, falling in love with the student, arrogant, judgmental and opportunistic, irrespective and arrogant, tribalistic, unwelcoming and immoral, harsh, disobedient, abusive, short-tempered, ego. All those are the vices that a teacher ought not to have. Materialistic, unjust. Sorry about the birds, I'm at home, so bear with me. Those birds are from the environment. Lacking time management, a teacher who arrives in class 2 hours later, that without any proper reason. Emotional, there are teachers who become very emotional. Others, okay, thank you so much, Vincent. I'll give you one of the birds. Okay, poor, I don't know, when you talk about poor, Vincent or Tala, what do you mean that a teacher who is poor? I don't know, poor in what? Financially or what? I'm waiting, substantiate the word poor, because we are looking at the vices of a teacher. Or poor dressing code, that is true. Disrespect, we don't have say irrespectful, disrespectful to the students and fellow teachers. I don't know, mentally poor, I don't know. I'm not getting that one of mentally poor. I'll need help there, my dear. Hapo nimekwamia hapo. Okay, and the list can go on and can go on. Now, one thing, I thank you so much and very good. That shows you people, you actually know what is expected of you. But the irony is that we find ourselves, we do not carry, we do not do these things. What happened? Okay. Now, community standards. That is another something that we'll be talking about. When you talk about community standards, it may vary as per community, you know, and that's where now we talk about respect for values. Can somebody help me understand the community standards within their community? There are some values, some things that are values in another community and are not values in another community. I'm waiting. Values within your community. Name your community.